As many of you know, the Game Awards is fast approaching. It's going to be streamed on December 12th, 2019, and the nominees are in. I really don't place that much importance on the Game Awards. It's whatever. But a lot of people are going to tune in. People are going to be curious about the winners and losers. So I figured I'd go through the nominees and make my own predictions in regards to who will win. Keep in mind that these are predictions. I have my own personal preferences. Everyone has their own personal preference. It's all subjective. There's always going to be disagreements, but based on the system highlighted in this page right here, the voting jury, which stipulates that essentially over 80 news outlets from around the world come together and submit their ballots and stuff. Based on that system, I'm going to try to see who's actually going to win each of the categories. So let's just dive right into it and see how many of these I get right come December 12th. The big one is, of course, Game of the Year, and right out of the gate, I'm going to say that Outer Worlds and Control are definitely not going to win. These four have the most likely prospect. I'm going to rule out Smash Bros. Ultimate simply because fighting games just don't tend to win these kinds of Game of the Year awards. I also get the sense that with Smash Bros. Ultimate not having that much of a story, it's going to be overtaken by these three games, and between them, I don't actually think Death Stranding is going to win. While it does have a bunch of nominations, and I do think it's going to win a bunch of those, I get the sense that it's going to be a Red Dead Redemption 2 type of scenario. Recall that that game was nominated for a bunch of awards and won a lot of them, but ultimately Game of the Year went to God of War. And I think that's because Red Dead Redemption 2 actually did have some people say that they didn't like how it felt like a slog in many aspects, whereas God of War was pretty much universally heralded for best game that year. And I get the sense something similar is going to happen here. So I'm going to rule out Death Stranding as winner for Game of the Year. I'm going to say it's actually going to go to Resident Evil 2 Remake. This is a game that just seems universally loved by people from what I've seen. Sekiro, people generally like it, but I also hear mixed things about certain boss battles and the focus on pairing. So I'm calling it right now, Resident Evil 2 Remake is going to be winner for Game of the Year. That's my prediction based on the way this voting jury works and based on the reception that's out there. Moving on, we have Action Game of the Year, and I've got to say right from the get-go that it's a sin Devil May Cry 5 wasn't nominated. Same thing with Astral Chain, but alas, it is what it is. Of these 6, I'd like to think that Devil May Cry 5 can take it, or Astral Chain. I'd like to think these two are at the forefront for this award. I'm going to say Devil May Cry 5, with Astral Chain coming in at a close second. Then we have Action Adventure, and we have a lot of Game of the Year nominees here. I don't think Borderlands 3 is going to take it. I don't think Link's Awakening is going to take it. It's definitely going to be one of the Game of the Year nominees. I want to say that Resident Evil 2 is also going to take this. It says right here, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, and I think Resident Evil 2 has the best mix of all that. Death Stranding, in terms of the combat and the gunplay and things like that, it's not the strongest suit. So I don't think that Death Stranding should win Action Adventure Game. So it might go to Resident Evil 2. Sekiro also could take this. It's a From Software game, so there's that compelling combination of rewarding yet difficult combat with compelling world traversal. Let's put it this way, whoever wins Best Action Adventure Game is also probably going to win Game of the Year, and since my prediction for Game of the Year is Resident Evil 2, I'm also going to say that Resident Evil 2 is going to win Best Action Adventure Game. But if I start seeing that Sekiro or Death Stranding wins Action Adventure Game, then I'm going to change my Game of the Year prediction on the spot. For now, though, I'm more confident Resident Evil 2 will win GOTY, so I say it's also going to take Best Action Adventure Game. Art Direction. So once again, a lot of Game of the Year nominations are here. For my part, I think Grease has a great chance of taking this. If you've seen that game in motion, you will see it looks gorgeous, and I hope that this is going to win, and I'm pretty confident this has a damn good chance of winning. Audio design, I do believe, I am very confident Death Stranding is going to take it. And this is an award that I would agree with. I think the music of Death Stranding, the sound effects, the way the low roar and Silent Poet's music kicks in at just the right time as you're traversing the world, that stuff was so effective. There's just a lot of cool sound design here in Death Stranding, and I can easily foresee Death Stranding taking this award. The next category is the best community support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness. Interesting. I'd like to think that Final Fantasy XIV can actually take this, but I think my prediction is that Fortnite is actually going to win this award because it's freaking Fortnite. It's gotten so big. Now, to be fair, Fortnite has been pretty responsive with the community. They have communicated pretty well, I feel, and there's that whole thing with the black hole in Fortnite Chapter 2 that I think elevates the community support and the community engagement to a whole new level. I mean, say what you want about Fortnite, but you've got to admit that drew a lot of eyes to the game. And there's just so much going on in the game itself, concerts and the new Star Wars trailers premiering within Fortnite and stuff like that. Given all of these factors, when you put them all together, I think it's safe to say Fortnite is going to be the winner here. Then we have things like Content Creator of the Year, Esports Coach, Esports Event, Esports Game of the Year, Esports Host, and Esports Player, and Esports Team. A lot of esports stuff here. I feel like the esports stuff should be a separate event. I don't feel like people tune into the Game Awards to find out who the best esports coach is. I don't think people care. Guess I'll predict esports Game of the Year. Fortnite. I'm going to say Fortnite again because it's Fortnite, because it's so popular and because it continues to gain that momentum. Family Game of the Year, we've got Luigi's Mansion 3, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Yoshi's Crafted World. Smash Bros. Ultimate, easily going to take this one. I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is a close second. A lot of people love that game. I have it on Switch. It is wonderful, but Smash Bros. Ultimate, come on. Fighting Game, Smash Bros. Ultimate is going to take it. Why is Jump Force here? What the heck? Okay, alright. No, I think Smash Bros. Ultimate easily going to take this one. Next up, we have Fresh Indie Game presented by Subway. Of course it is. There's going to be a lot of marketing and ads and stuff in Game Awards as usual. Look forward to that. Recognizing a new independent studio that released its first game in 2019. So this is a studio award. And between these, we've got Zaum for Disco Elysium, Nomada Studio for Greece, Dead Toast Entertainment for My Friend Pager. Oh yeah, this is that John Woo Matrix-inspired side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. We've got Mobius Digital for Outer Wilds, Mega Crit for Slay the Spire, House for Untitled Goose Game. Now I know Untitled Goose Game is a whole meme, but I don't think it's going to take it, and I don't think it deserves to take it. It's fun, it's enjoyable, but I feel like Outer Wilds and Disco Elysium really pushed the boundaries when it comes to indie games this year. And I'm going to have to give it to Zaum. I think they're going to take it. A lot of people were utterly blown away by Disco Elysium and its storytelling prowess. And it's got a really cool art style, and I love the way the RPG mechanics blend with your dialogue choices and your noir detectiving. I think Disco Elysium and Zaum are going to take a lot of awards this year. Next up, Game Direction. I do believe Death Stranding is absolutely going to win this one. Say what you want about this game, but it has such a concrete and absolute vision to it, and it got made in like 3 years because the vision for this game was so strong. Kojima knew exactly what this game was going to be, what he wanted it to be, and he realized that. Whether you like that vision or not, that's up to you, but there's such a clear direction and such a clear intent with this game that not only do I think it deserves Best Game Direction, I do think it's actually going to win it. Especially when you read the description here, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. And Death Stranding certainly goes for something really different, and I think many will give it to Death Stranding for, at the very least, trying to kind of buck the trends of games and trying something new. Games for Impact, for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. Man, I've not played enough of these games for me to be able to make a specific determination. Now, from what I've seen between these 5 games, Concrete Genie and Grease have the higher user and critic rating. I'm gonna say Greece is gonna take it. It seems to be the one that people are most struck by in terms of games for impact. Then we have Best Indie Game for Outstanding Creative and Technical Achievement in a Game Made Outside the Traditional Publisher System. Once again, I'm gonna give it to Disco Elysium. I'm pretty sure this game is going to take it because it's so universally heralded. I think Outer Wilds is a close second, but Disco Elysium, from what I'm seeing, the general feedback out there, this is the game that's really making the rounds. It's the one that's got people talking, and I think it's gonna take both Best Fresh Indie Game and Best Indie Game period. Moving on, we have Best Mobile Game. Oh boy, do I even want to guess for this one? I really don't care much for mobile game. Many of you will know. I think between these, actually Sayonara Wild Hearts, I've heard great things about. It's also out on PS4 and Switch, and it's this arcade game where you're riding skateboards and motorcycles and have these katanas or swords and shooting lasers. I haven't played it. I'm not too sure about the premise. It seems pretty insane, but I've just heard enough good things about this one game that I'm just gonna mark this as my prediction. Best multiplayer game of the year. We've got Apex Legends, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Tetris 99, Tom Clancy's The Division 2. You know, a part of me really wants Tetris 99 to take it. I've actually played it. It's Battle Royale, but Tetris. I mean, come on. But if I had to predict who the winner is going to be, again, it's not my preference, but my prediction, I'm going to say that Apex Legends has a damn good chance among these nominees. Because Apex Legends is a really good Battle Royale game. It's probably the one that I genuinely enjoy. I'm not really into Battle Royales, and I've not gone back to Apex Legends in a while, but what little I did play of this game, I had a really good time with. But not gonna lie, it would bring me great joy if Tetris 99 surprised us and took the award. Next up, we have Best Narrative for Outstanding Storytelling and Narrative Development in a Game. Interesting. I think it's gonna be between Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, and A Plague Tale: Innocence. I've not played this game, so I can't say too much about it, but I'm hearing damn good things about the story. Death Stranding, there are a lot of people who did love the story aspect of the game, the narrative, and then Disco Elysium, it's all narrative-driven, and I mean, the writing is so just good and interesting and outlandish. I'm going to say Disco Elysium could actually take this one for Best Narrative. Because it's such a narrative-focused game, it'd be insane to not give it to Disco Elysium, especially when so many people agree that this game has an incredible story, an incredible all-around narrative with compellingly written dialogue. Best Ongoing Game, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. I'm going to say right now, this one's easily going to Fortnite, especially after what Epic pulled with the Black Hole that kickstarted Chapter 2. That drew so much attention, and Fortnite is just kicking so strong compared to these other games that I cannot think of a situation in which Fortnite doesn't win. I'd be overjoyed if a game like Final Fantasy XIV won, because this game gets nothing but compliments and people absolutely love this MMORPG. But if I'm gonna be realistic about my prediction, if I'm betting on who the Game Awards will pick, the voting jury there, I'm going to say Fortnite. Best Performance, awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. I actually do think Death Stranding is going to take this award. It's going to be between Norman and Mads. If I had to put my money between these two, I would say Mads Mikkelsen is going to take it, because Norman Reedus, he's the link between the player and the world. At least that's what it feels like. So a lot of his performance is more on the down low, whereas with Mads, you get to see a wide range of emotions and a wide range of personalities within that character. So I'd say Matt deserves it, and I think he'll take it. Best Role-Playing Game, for the best game design with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. I really don't get the sense that Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to take it. It's not that much of an RPG compared to some of these other games out there. It has RPG elements, but I feel like The Outer Worlds and Disco Elysium are probably more up there in terms of character customization and role-playing. I think Outer Worlds, based on its nomination as Game of the Year, is the most likely to win. Score and music for outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. Oh man, I don't know. Cadence of Hyrule is a rhythm game and has some pretty dope music in there. Death Stranding has, again, some really great sound design with great tracks that kick in at just the right time to evoke very specific emotions and experiences. We've got Devil May Cry 5 with its more hardcore soundtrack. Kingdom Hearts 3, I mean, say what you want about this game, but the soundtrack in Kingdom Hearts has always been just magical. And then Sayonara Wild Hearts has some pretty wild music in there. I don't know. This one's, I gotta think about this one. But in terms of my prediction for how the Game Awards will choose, I think Death Stranding will actually take this. Best sports/racing game for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. Oh boy, yeah, FIFA 20, guys. Can you imagine the shitstorm that would brew if FIFA 20 won this award? The fact that it's nominated is kind of insulting, not gonna lie. But I guess between these, it'd have to be maybe Dirt Rally 2. I know Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled could also take it, but then they added the microtransactions. But the core mechanics are very solid and it's a fun game. So I would actually say Crash Team is probably going to take it. Best strategy game, we've got Age of Wonders, Anno 1800, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Total War Three Kingdoms, Tropico 6, Wargroove, no competition. Fire Emblem Three Houses is going to take it. This game's just critically acclaimed, and also user reviews are through the roof. People love this game, and many felt this should have been a nominee for Game of the Year. I would actually agree with that as someone who's played the game. But yeah, between these titles, easily going to Fire Emblem Three Houses. Last but not least, we got Best VR/AR game, and the nominees are Asgard's Wrath, Blood and Truth, Beat Saber, No Man's Sky, and Trover Saves the Universe. I think Asgard's Wrath is easily going to take this award. It's gotten such good reviews. Everything I hear about this game tells me that I'm really missing out. Close second, I'd say Blood and Truth, which is a PlayStation VR game that I hear is actually a fully fleshed out shooting VR game, which is cool. But Asgard's Wrath, it's this fantasy RPG action-adventure game that takes inspirations from works like God of War. And from what I've heard, it is the game to get for VR right now. I hear that right now, if there's one game that really highlights the potential of VR, it's Asgard's Wrath. And I hear similar things about Blood and Truth, but Asgard's Wrath really seems to have captivated people who've played it. I'm really looking forward to checking this out, actually. And I'm gonna predict Asgard's Wrath will take the trophy for this one. So there you have it, folks. These are my predictions for the Game Awards 2019. Let me know in the comments below what your predictions are. Let's compare notes, see if we agree or disagree on these categories. And if you disagree with some of my predictions, let me know why. So drop a comment below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.